BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello, and indeed, ahoy, hoy. Welcome to episode 561 of BRB UK. I'm here this week. My name's Dan. Tim's also here, aren't you, Tim?
Yep, no rest for the wicked.
Coleman kind of is, but isn't. Coleman, if you're there, can you send us a message from the other
great
side?
beyond.
From beyond.
Tap twice.
I'm going to take me and my standard dong elsewhere. Nice.
You
Beautiful.
communicated using your own voice, Dan.
I know.
That's good.
I know.
That
Feels a little bit masturbatory, I'm not going to lie.
I'm not sure I
but
can
there
get
we
my
go.
fist in it.
There we go, and there's Tim as well.
Okay.
Yes, Coleman doesn't have COVID, but he does have something else, so he's feeling a bit grotty. But still wanted to keep an eye on me and Tim, lest we misbehave. So he is, there. He is communicating with us via the medium of soundboards. So
it's like a Ouija board, but
yeah, it's like a Ouija board, but infinitely more annoying.
Yeah,
I would argue.
mainly because it's got
See, there it is.
audio of us too.
See, Ouija board's not as annoying as that.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say. But anyway, so Coleman is here, but he isn't here. It's all very confusing. I don't know. Sorry I wasn't here last week. I came down with something horrible as well. So there's a lot of stuff going about. So don't stop licking things in public is generally my top tip. Handrails are what got me. I'm sure it's similar to Coleman. That's probably why we've both died of man flu. So anyway, I'm back, but Coleman isn't. Have you avoided plague and associated lurgies, Tim?
Mostly, I was feeling a bit unwell on my birthday, like last week,
happy birthday.
a week ago or so. But I did kind of sleep through Sunday and a bit of Monday, and didn't do much for my birthday. But kind of then seemed to get over it. Did a COVID test on my birthday and came up negative. So
happy birthday!
Hey, that was something I'm glad I didn't get on my
SARS-CoV-2.
birthday. Yeah, so there you go.
Happy birthday. I had something similar because it's my wedding anniversary this weekend, and I only just got better for the last day of my wedding anniversary long weekend, which is very upsetting. It's not very fun when it happens on your birthday or something like that, is it?
No.
It's rubbish.
I also had to work till late, so I was feeling properly shattered by the time I got home from work. Didn't want to go out for dinner like we planned to, so, hey.
Being a grown-up sucks.
I
think that's all we can take. Review of being a grown-up, 0 out of 10, would not play again.
Also, just on that note, while we're reviewing things for birthdays,
having a birthday on real life. Mortgages,
it hasn't happened to me for
a
number of years, but having a birthday on a Monday sucks some butt too, so...
Yeah,
not so good.
It's not fun. Coleman, have you got anything to say on the matter?
Nope. Speak to us. From the great beyond.
There we go. Yeah, from beyond. There we go.
Okay.
Excellent. I'm quite liking having metaphysical Coleman. I quite like
You
it.
can just summon the spirit of Coleman.
Exactly.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
I think he wants us to get on with things.
All right, okay, fair enough. So Tim, we have actually played some games this week.
Oh, yes,
I'm going to let you go first because that's going to dictate how much time I actually get to talk about stuff. So you, sir, have been playing Trepang2, which is very straight.
First of all, correction the first.
Right.
Trepang².
Oh, bug off.
Yeah.
Why is it
Not entirely
squared?
sure why. I've tried to investigate this with no solid answer. I did wonder when, and part of the reason why, and I got a review code for this, but part of the reason why I put myself forward for a review code is I was intrigued by the game. I'd heard of it. I'd seen the name floating around. And I was like, Trepang2? Like, I don't remember there being a Trepang1. What's going on there? And in the course of that investigation, it is Trepang².
Or Trepang, as I would like to call it.
Quite possibly.
Trepang, which doesn't sound good.
While we're talking on the name, let's dwell there for a minute as well. Because I had to try and find out what Trepang means. Because not only is it the name of the game that I was playing this week, it's also the name of the studio that made that game. Right. And the name of the game that they originally made as a game jam type game as a studio type thing.
It may also refer to a marine invertebrate harvested by trepanging.
Right. Well, that's go further down that path.
Cucumbers.
It's a
They're
sea cucumber, Dan. I knew this would please you. It is a sea cucumber.
Sea cucumber.
But that's where the name actually comes from, is because the original game that they made for this Game Jam type event had a sea cucumber as the main character, so they called it Trepang. So that name has kind of stuck with the studio from then on, basically. So,
I do love me an edible invertebrate from the sea, I tell you.
Yes, I'm not sure why squaring one of those would lead to a very bloody first-person shooter, but here we are, nevertheless.
I mean, it's got to be a disappointing life being a sea cucumber. It would surely push you over the edge and make you want to commit mass murder, I would have thought.
Possibly.
I'm not excusing it.
As would being an amnesiac locked up in a prison,
what?
Having lost all your memories.
What?
It's that old video game
being
trope.
An amnesiac, that kind of goes with the territory, mate. You
that
can't
kind of
remember
goes.
A lot of stuff.
Yep. Lost your memories, but you do have some powers for reasons.
Okay.
And you've been locked up in a prison until a slightly shadowy clandestine organization breaks you out of prison. Now, these organizations do have names, but it's basically red eyes, bad guys, blue eyes, good guys. That's kind of all you need to know.
Is that as far as the graphic design tropes go for that?
Basically.
Right, okay.
But in doing so, the whole game and the overall
makes me feel better
of the
about
game,
Destiny reusing assets, not going to lie.
Yeah, the whole overall feel of the game does much feel like a slightly antiquated first-person shooter. It feels like a very 2000s era first-person shooter. It feels like to give it a slightly backhanded compliment, it feels like a very good, but nevertheless slightly AA budget-wise first-person shooter. Reminds me very much of
go for it,
Fear, Project Fear. Was it Project Fear or just Fear? I think it was just Fear. Fear, but I can't remember what the acronym stood for in the game. But
flipping enjoyable automatic romp.
But it reminds me of that. It also reminds me, and this may be where some of the eyes comes in, but also some of the weaponry and some of the way the weaponry handles and some of the because it's quite quick movement wise. You can vault across things quite easily and move through the environment quite quickly. And some of those elements and some of the design elements very much remind me of Killzone, which is a very good touch point for me. And no one's making a Killzone anymore. So there is a kind of at the end of level 2. There's a big kind of tonal gear change, and it goes from what seems like a very straight up military shooter. It suddenly goes, oh no, we're going into horror territory now. Come along for the ride. And yeah, I wasn't sure about that at first, but I really quite like what they've done there. And I should also preface that I've only had the game for a couple of days, for 3 days, and one of those days I was at Tabletop Tuesday, so I've only played it for 2 days. So I'm about halfway through the game in terms of seeing the content, but there might be a bit more content to work through from what I can see. But
so far so generic, it sounds like, Tim. So what's this kind of game's USP, unique selling point?
Right,
if we're going for acronyms.
I think, even though it sounded like, as I said, a bit of a backhanded compliment, its USP is no one makes games like this anymore, and you might like these type of games. If you like Fear, if you like Black is another touch point, I think. And if you like Killzone, then you'll probably like this game. There are elements of those things that you like from those games in this. The thing that's sort of where you're like, oh, your budget showing a bit. Some of the level layouts seemed
I must say, it's always embarrassing when someone points it out to me in public.
Yeah.
Your budget's hanging out, mate.
But the first level
the old
takes
budget
place,
smugglers.
The first place, keen to 2000 tropes, to kind of lay on those tropes as much as possible. You are broke out of a prison, so you're in a prison, you've lost your memories.
For a crime you wrongly committed, I'm guessing.
Quite possibly, but you don't even know.
Or wrongly in prison for a crime you didn't commit. I mean, all crimes are wrongly committed, let's face it.
There are some bot things that you find throughout your base, which there's a kind of hub base that you can kind of move through. And I'll come back to that in a sec. And throughout the general missions, you find these little robot type things that you can interact with. and it gives you like short little messages. They're all like stuff like, oh, she's not telling you the whole truth, or like little snippets of memories and stuff that you have, but you don't really know what's going on. And I haven't seen enough of those piece like a larger story together type thing. It does seem to be that these two factions are just going at each other, and the one faction that freed you may or may not be telling you the whole truth, and might not be as good as, it might not be as black and white as they're the good guys and the red-eyed guys are the bad guys. Might not be quite as simple as that, but I haven't got too deep into that yet. The powers that I mentioned, you've basically got, and again, feels very 2000 era-y. You've got the ability to slow down time, kind of bullet timey type stuff. And so you can dodge bullets.
Hang on. Where'd that come from? Where's bullet time come from? All of a sudden you're talking, you're breaking out of a prison, pew, stuff like that. Yeah. Bullet time. What?
But that's what I said. Like, it's a military shoot, a straight up military shoot 1 second. Right. And then literally without any explanation whatsoever, it goes, by the way, you've got some powers. Like, no MacGuffin reason for getting them. Like, you don't remember why you have those powers. You don't have those powers when you first break out of your cell in the prison, but you just get them suddenly. Yeah. You walk through a door somewhere in the prison. Oh, you've got powers now, basically. Like, no explanation whatsoever. And that's why I say, like, some of the things show up in its budget showing a little bit. There doesn't seem to be like a great deal of cutscenes. Everyone's like face is covered, so there's no kind of lip syncing like having to be done. And it kind of like a lot of the story is told via, even with the bad guys communicating to you, it's not them really talking to you, it's them talking to you over the radio and you hearing them. And the good guys talk to you over the radio, even in your own base. Like, you get to see the quartermaster dude, and there's some dudes in the helicopter that you go to at the beginning of the level, but there isn't really like, the base that you're in doesn't seem to have much life to it and stuff. It is like quite well kitted out in terms of there's an armory and there's a gun range that you can mess around with. It's also got like a table that you can choose missions from, but then it's also got I can't remember what they call it, but it's like a training room type thing where you can go through different scenarios. And it's basically just wave shooter, and you just stand there. And I've tried that out, but I haven't gone too deep into that because you really want to be unlocking different weapons and different weapon parts before you get stuck into that. The other power that you had as well as bullet time is you can just go invisible in a kind of Crisis-esque sort of style, which is another game that this kind of pulls from a little bit as well in terms of its hitting all the 2000 shooters high points sort of thing. But it combines it quite well. The AI is for the enemies is pretty decent. Like, they will search around for you and stuff. But if you do something it's not really expected to do, like hiding in a corner, because you don't really want to be doing that in this game. But if you do and kind of observe them for a bit, they start doing odd things where a few of them start walking backwards and a few other things going on. But generally, when you interact with them and just like, it's a very much a fast-paced, bloody, gory shooter where you want to be running around the environment, going invisible, sneaking up behind someone, hitting them, grabbing them, using as a human shield, throwing their body into their mates with a grenade attached so it blows them all up, and then kind of rinse and repeat kind of thing. And you can also do, there's a nice slide in the game as well, but it uses that quite well in terms of like, you've got to knock people with shields off balance with that so that you can shoot them. And yeah, there's a few other enemies that you have to sort of attack in specific ways to kind of get round particular ways to kind of get round their ability to block you out sort of thing. Yeah. But yeah, like I don't think it puts its best foot forward first. Like, I think you need to get through a bit of the game to start unlocking some of the better weapons and unlocking some of the mods that go with them. And once it does, and once you get, as I said, like, I don't know about you, I'm kind of used to the kind of cover shooter type thing now, and that very much isn't this game, and you need to get used to the fact that that is not how to play this game. But once you do, and you kind of start bossing your way around levels, it plays really well, and it's really fun. Like, it's one where, you know, you're kind of showing off what you can do, but it's not graphically massively impressive. It's not like underwhelming, but it's not overwhelming either type thing, you know. And like, it's not really like, oh wow, look at the, the one thing it does really well is the kind of particle effects and the blood effects and stuff like that. So when you're throwing flashbangs at people and blowing people up, there's a lot going on. When it gets really busy, there is a tiny bit of slowdown, but not so much that it hurts the game too much. And I wonder if they put the slow-mo mode in there so you're less likely to notice it as well. But yeah, like...
It's very cynical, young Timothy.
Yeah, possibly. But generally, I said, you have to get over the little hump of the early part of the game, and that was made extra difficult because I accidentally restarted when I was at the boss of the first level, so I had to play through the whole of the first level again.
You dickhead.
But it does have some of the downsides of early 2000 shooters in the terms of you're picking up health and armor throughout the level, and you're picking up ammo and weaponry and all this type of stuff. But you can do the thing where, because you can't manually save and because it's got automatic save, like, so when I restarted that level, there was no way to reload and start at the end of the level. But also you can paint yourself into a bit of a corner where you've used up all your major bits of ammo, like your grenades and all that type of stuff. And you used up all the health in the room. And it's one thing I don't like as well. The health and the the armor, you pick up just by walking over them, which is okay. But like, it does mean that if you're missing a tiny bit of health, or if you get shot as you're walking past the health on the wall, you will pick it up. Even if you've only got a slither of health taken off type thing. So it would be nicer to manually use that and have a bit more tacticalness to when you pick those things up. Because you can just be walking backwards and accidentally walk into a health pack and pick it up without really knowing about it and stuff, basically. So, yeah, but that's, it's minor gripes, and there are a few like imperfect things with the game, but generally the gameplay is just fun.
Because it's interesting hearing you describe kind of the difference with like how used to cover shooters we've become, because I found this with a couple of FPSs where I've had it kind of ingrained into me to hang back in cover and not engage unless I absolutely have to. Whereas it sounds like games like Trepang2, I'm just putting my own inflection on it. Kind of, you have to play it quite aggressively, otherwise you are just going to get blown to bits. So it's interesting hearing
to
that kind of like
Dooms kind of thing.
Yeah, because I mean, it feels to me
well.
There's a bit of a resurgence in that kind of FPS. Now we've kind of gone through our cover-based third-person phase as an industry, and now we're kind of going back to kind of the good or bad old days of kind of like also the noughties, Quake, that kind of stuff.
And just to complete the full picture of first-person shooters from the 2000s that this is pulling from, there's no aim-down sights. So very much like Halo, like you have to kind of train yourself to not aim down sights. There is like, with the kind of sniper rifle type things and with the scopes that you can get for weapons later on, you can zoom, but it's not with the L2. It's with like one of the D-pad things.
So you're constantly having to run at your telly to recreate the ADS experience is what you're doing.
Well, there's possibly that. But also L2 throws grenades. So the reason why I painted myself into the corner on the first level is because I kept on trying to aim down sights and accidentally throwing my grenades when I really didn't need to the point where I had no grenades when I really needed them.
Damn it, sea cucumbers.
Yes. But yeah, like as I said, I'm halfway through the game. There's half a dozen or so levels, I think, by what I've read, and there's what do they call them? Like submission type things, not main missions, but I can't remember the word. But other missions that aren't the main missions. And there's half a dozen or so.
Side missions?
Side missions, that's the word I was looking for. And they
you are on a roll today, Tim.
You're forgetting words. Yeah, they are basically a kind of wave-based shooter where you are hacking into a computer, and then you've got to defend that computer from people that can stop the hack and stuff like that, and from other people just coming in. And it's a wave-based type thing. And similar to the wave-based type thing you can do in the training area, it's something where you can buy an extra squad of people to come help you. You can buy extra weaponry. You can buy things like flashbangs and other ammo and stuff like that, just to kind of make that playthrough a bit easier, and you earn more money as the people you're killing as well, basically. But it was weirdly like 2 side missions unlocked at once, and one of them was doable at that stage, and one of them felt like it really wasn't. But yeah, but overall the game's quite fun. I do recommend it. I think from what I saw as well, I think it's got a 9 out of 10 on Steam. It came out on Steam earlier in the year in sort of June sort of time, so it's had a bit of time to get reviews over there and stuff as well. It's just come out on consoles this week, and especially if you like those kind of 2000 era shooters of the ones I mentioned, I won't go through them all again, but especially if you like those sorts of games, it's something that I think's going to appeal to you. And yeah, I recommend it. The one thing is I don't know how much it costs. Can you double check that for me, Dan, if you don't mind?
It costs some money. Where are we? Trepang.
Guessing it's not a full price game, which makes it.
While you're doing that, vamp and tell me what system you played it on.
As I said, I got a review code. I was playing on the PS5. It's available on the Xbox Series, and it was already available on Steam. And yeah, I don't know how well it would play on Steam Deck. I don't know if it's Steam Deck verified.
It is verified on the Steam Deck, so you can get it on. You can get Cucumber² for £25. Or £24.99 on Steam. I'd imagine it's probably going to be something fairly. Yep, it's that on your Xbone, and I'd imagine it's going to be something similar on your PS5.
And for that price, considering like it's not
Thank you, otherworldly gold man,
non-bodily Goldman. For that sort of price, I think it's a really good deal. Like as I said, its budget shows up in places, and it is with the caveat that you probably have to like 2000 era shooters or at least tolerate them to get on with it. But it's got, I think, 6 or different levels of degradation of kind of difficulty settings. And I did try and bump it up to hard for the first level, having gone through that once already. But then had to bump it down to kind of get through bosses. And I think once I've got some weapons unlocked and done some other things, it'll be easier to go through the harder levels. But yeah, like it's something where it does give you some replay value, and the side missions and the training missions and stuff do like pad out the game a bit more as well. I think otherwise it might be on the short side, but for the £25 mark, I think it's a good time and well worth recommending, basically.
So there we go. So that's Trepang² or Trepang. Published by Team 17.
Cucumber. Yeah, published by Team 17.
Published by Team 17, out on your PC, your Xbox Series and PS5. I'm assuming that's your lot as far as platforms go. And yes, as we said, it is Steam Deck verified. Haven't played it on it, though, so I can't tell you what it's like. Shall I tell you what I've been playing?
Please do.
I'll tell you what I've been playing.
Otherwise, this section might go well.
In order to form at least the early part of an opinion on this, I had to pretend that I was from New Zealand, okay?
Okay.
I had to pretend I was from New Zealand.
How is your New Zealand accent, Dan?
Very similar to my Australian one. I understand that people from New Zealand find it quite offensive when you get the two mixed up. I cannot tell the difference for love nor money. I'm very sorry, Australian and New Zealand people. If someone could tell me the surefire way to tell your different accents from one another, I will gladly go. Tell you what, let's just say I became Australian for it because I can do that accent. All right, you ready?
Right. Okay, let's do it.
All right, you ready? G'day, mate. Hello, my name's Dan. I'm 43, and you're going to eat my dust.
It's like you've just travelled around the world in 60 seconds.
There you go.
Or less.
It's Dan here. You're going to eat my dust, you flaming galah. So, yes.
Eating my dust.
I was amazed to see a galah in an Australian zoo, and my Australian friend had no idea what I was talking about, by the way. I was like, it's a flaming galah! And she was like,
it's a flaming galah, mate!
Yeah.
Tell you what, best Australian animal, I'm just going to put this out there, wombat.
Yep.
Great animals. I love a wombat.
Wombats are nice. I've cuddled a wombat.
Have you? You've got to be careful. They've got lots of fleas and stuff.
Okay. Well,
might
less
explain
deadly than koalas, but still.
Yeah, koalas are angry. Anyway, we digress.
Yes.
So What came out this week if you wanted to pony up for the VIP experience and VIP Antipodean experience if you wanted to get a 12-hour jump ahead of everyone because you haven't got very much time to play this game before you need to talk about it, is Forza Motorsport. So this is included in Game Pass and will release to everybody on Game Pass on October 10th. But because I'm a big fan of the Forza series, I dropped the $24.99 it was for me, or 26 something for me it was for some reason.
Okay.
Don't know why I got a bit of a discount. Just did. Might be in Game Pass. For the kind of the VIP unlock package. So it includes all of like the expansion passes, season passes, car passes, all of that stuff, and the 5-day early access for the low sum of £26 and something. Do the same.
More than Trepang cost to start with, but anyway.
Where is Alan Rickman when you need him?
What a savings.
There we go. Thank you.
I'd buy that for $1.
There we go. Oh, God, we've sent him into overdrive now. So I've been playing that. I've been trying it out on both PC and my Xbox Series X. It's a little... I've had a couple of crashes on the PC, so I've mostly done it on the Xbox. But this is a Forza Motorsport Forza Motorsport. It is, really kind of... They've doubled down on the car nerdiness here. It's all about getting to know your cars. I think previous Forza games, obviously especially the Horizon ones, but also the Motorsport ones like Motorsport 7, basically just threw cars at you all the time. It's like, right, here's another car, here's another car, here's another car. You don't need to learn to race well. You just need to upgrade all of the things, and that's your instant win button. Whereas this iteration of Forza Motorsport, which they're very much positioning as a platform, it almost sounds like they want to turn it into the car equivalent of Microsoft Flight Sim as it is now, where it's kind of a platform where new content is continually added. They very much made it about, and this is going to sound ridiculous, about forming a relationship with your car. All right? Now, Tim, easy, Tiger, all right?
Banana in the tailpipe, yeah?
Damn straight. Straight in there. Yeah, sorry, I just went off into a little wistful world of whimsy with me and my Citroen 2CV there. Yeah, so it's rather than just constantly throw cars at you, it's all about kind of meeting out the cars you get access to and the upgrades you get to them. So now, rather than just kind of instantly have everything available to you if you've got the credits in game, you now have to level your cars up to actually unlock the upgrade. So kind of when you first use your car, it's kind of the bog standard model. So you have to get used to its foibles. And then gradually as you do more and more stuff in it, you unlock, you level your car up. When you do, when you drive a particularly good sector on a racetrack or do a load of overtakes, you get car XP and you gradually level up your car, which levels up unlocks, which don't cost money anymore. They cost kind of the car points. So you get a certain number of car points or car XP.
What do car points mean?
Across all your car prizes, obs. And you kind of start to craft the car that suits you. And I mean, it sounds a bit silly, and I did roll my eyes a little bit when I first heard this is the approach they were taking, but it genuinely stops you being a complete magpie with the cars you get. You're like, all right, I want to use this and I want to use that. That one's shiny. I like this one. I want to do that one. Whereas this actually makes you understand the car. And it feels that by the time you've kind of completed kind of a racing league in that car, it now feels like, well, this is the car that I kind of tuned for me. And it doesn't make that process very complicated. I mean, you can just automatically upgrade all the things. But it does actually give you a little bit of kind of engagement with the cars that you have, rather than just it being kind of a pure car collecting game.
The only thing I don't like about the sound of that approach, though, is that in a game like this, if I get to a car that I don't like very much and don't want to spend the time racing with it,
don't drive it then.
Need to progress in the game.
Oh no, you can still buy other cars. You can still buy other cars. It's not like you're not locked to. I mean, like with any kind of racing game, it will have like certain restrictions for some events. Like this has to be a car from Japan with a
Yes.
performance rating less than this, but there are very, very few ones where it has you have to, drive around a pink Mazda MX-5 and pretend to be a hairdresser.
Right, but say it's a category of cars that I don't enjoy very much. For example, American muscle cars I can find awkward to play with, not that fun to drive type of thing. So I tend to go in and just upgrade the hell out of that car so that I can get through that section of the game as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
and that takes away your ability to do that by the sounds of things.
There's no hard blocks to that. It's not to get, everything's kind of open to you from the get-go. So it's not like it's blocking anything. If you don't like American muscle cars, don't do the events of American muscle cars. And, I don't think it's going to ultimately affect what you get out of the game. So it's kind of really doubled down on that. I mean, I think this really feels like, for the first time in the Forza Motorsport series, it's kind of more of a refinement of what's gone before. So they've completely overhauled the kind of the physics underlying it, which meant, apparently I was reading a dev blog on this, their original plan was just to import all of the tracks straight from Forza 7. But they refined their physics model so much that the cars just, like, the resolution of the assets, as it were, in terms of, like, the polygons and, the bumpiness, kind of the inferred bumpiness of the road because of the resolution which they kind of rendered those 3D models, it made all the cars bounce all over the place. So they were like, oh, man, we've made this great physics system, now we've got to redo all the tracks. Why?
You've got to have information good enough for that physics system to interact with, basically, isn't it? So, yeah.
But it's definitely been worth the effort. I mean, I would say cars feel like actual proper cars for the first time in Forza Motorsport. They were pretty good before, but now you can very much tell the difference between, front-wheeled, rear-wheeled, all-wheel cars. And you get very much a sense of kind of when the grip in the tires is biting as you turn into a corner. And it makes it feel a lot more engaging. I mean, it's something, if you're a car enthusiast, that's going to, really appeal to you. Perhaps if you just want an arcade racer, fine, this might not be the game for you. I mean, but like other Forza games in the Forza series, they've done a great job in making it as accessible as you want it to be. And with that in mind, there's now a really... not the kind of the extra credit bonus you get is no longer linked to the assists that you turn on or off. It's now how hard you make the AI or how far back you want to start on the grid. So if you make the AI really hard, you're going to get more money, but you can have every assist turned on if you wanted. I mean, that's absolutely fine.
Better, for accessibility, that's good. But I think that's just also good for just general gamers as well, no?
Yeah, and it makes it, again, I mean, it does make it feel a bit more of like you're customizing it to what you want it to be. And obviously there will be, I think, probably in some online lobbies, there's likely to be restrictions on the assists that you have. But at least like, if all you want to play is a single player game, that's not getting in your way anymore. Yeah. The other big difference they've made is kind of actually the dynamic weather system, the dynamic lighting system. Before in Forza, where it's like it's either raining or it is not raining. It's either like an ice rink or it's not. Now there's very subtle changes when it's just a bit wet in the air in terms of rain, or if it's chucking it down. Visually it looks incredible. Even like the temperature really kind of the environmental temperature really starts to affect how cars handle around the tracks. They've put a lot of effort into really getting that kind of under the hood simulation stuff right. And it feels incredible. I mean, and the weather effects are amazing. It's like, it's not just fog. It's like, imagine you're driving in a foggy road. There will be patches where the fog's denser or less dense. You can actually see how the kind of the weather's changing over time. It feels really, really great to
Do you think that
drive.
That makes the game better for fans that like a sim racing game, but slightly less accessible for people that don't, or people that prefer their arcadey racing kind of thing?
I think you can. I can't recall off the top of my head, but I've got a feeling that you can kind of adjust how much environmental factors change the handling of the car. It does. I mean, because it's done in quite a well-judged way in terms of it doesn't feel all of a sudden you can't drive anywhere. It feels natural. It feels natural rather than impossible to deal with. I mean, visually it's incredible. I mean, I think the only thing I would say is that on a super clear sunny day, actually the game looks at its least impressive because you don't have all of the environmental or all the kind of the environmental effects kicking off. I mean, they've still put a great deal of effort into making it as good as it can. I mean, there's ray tracing even on kind of during 60 frames per second gameplay on the Xbox. On the PC, it just turns everything up to an insane level. Does look absolutely incredible, but you need a meaty PC to really pump it. If you wanted to play that at 4K, 120 hertz with everything turned on, you're probably going to need a high-end 40 series NVIDIA GPU. But it looks great no matter what you play. And, you know, there are subtle differences between like the performance ray tracing mode on a Series X and everything turned on a PC. But it does look great. It really does look great.
Yeah, I've heard it looks surprisingly decent on the Series S, which I was a bit worried about as well. So that seems all right.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think
you
won't get any. I think the 60 frames per second there is non-ray tracing. It's just kind of using the kind of the usual graphical shortcuts to make things look shiny. But it still looks incredible, and I think really, you know, it plays so well that my recommendation would be to prioritize the frame rate above all else. In terms of stuff that's in it from the get-go, I mean, people have been a little harsh on it, saying, "Oh, there's only 500 cars," and there's I think there's 14 tracks with 20 layouts across them, and that's just at the starting gate. I mean, Turn 10 have already said they have. You know, this is a platform that will be adding content to it over time. And it very much is and it feels like it as well. And there's even kind of regular, not only multiplayer, but single player events as well, where it encourage you to, you know, challenge yourself in a particular car, you know, that the cars that fit that will be at a discount for that week. So they're constantly looking at ways to kind of liven it up a bit.
Yeah. Does it feel a little bare bones at the moment, though, for the content that's there at launch? Or
I think there's still a lot to do in there. I mean, I think, again, it's more of a refinement over previous Forza series. I mean, I don't think if this is your first Forza game, you're going to be stuck for things to do. Yeah. And if you're a Game Pass subscriber, I mean, I think especially when this show goes out, there'll only be 2 or 3 days of early access remaining, you know, give it a try on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Though I haven't tried multiplayer yet. That's on my list of things to do this weekend, but it looks like they've kind of taken a bit of a leaf out of the Gran Turismo book for online, where it's not only you get 2 separate ratings, one for where you tend to finish, one for how much of a bellend you are on the road, which I think is good, and it will match you up with people who have similar driving sensibilities to yours, shall we say. And
not sure that's going to go well or badly for me, but, you know.
Probably pretty badly. I mean, you'll have fun. I mean, you'll play bumper cars, but at least you'll have fun. Yeah. And it seems like there's kind of like AI assistance throughout a lot of things in the game, like, you know, how it judges whether or not you broke track limits or went off-road for too much. It seems to be quite a clever system that's probably still learning at the moment. But yeah, I've only spent about 4 hours with the game so far, but I very much enjoyed it. And as kind of a bit of a car nut, I think it's the best playing Forza there is. Does it feel a little pared down in terms of what's on offer? Yeah, probably. Are there things I would have liked to have seen them do a little bit better? Like the livery editor still feels a little bit like it hasn't had an upgrade since like Motorsport 5. I'm hoping they can do things to make that a bit better, or hopefully they'll find a way, a bit like in Gran Turismo, where you can directly import images and turn them into kind of decals that you put on your car, rather than slavishly trying to recreate the big red barrel logo using triangles. I've done it, folks. It's okay. You'll be able to find it on Xbox if you search for it. You know, there is, you know, some refinements could be made. But in terms of if they deliver on their vision of this as like a platform, a continually evolving car showroom full of awesome content with the tracks you've always wanted to race on, it could be a really exciting kind of long burn game that's going to kind of, if you like car sims and you like racing, it's going to probably have you sorted if you've got an Xbox. We'll see how many legs, how long the legs it has are, but I think it's well worth checking out, especially if you're on Game Pass. If you don't have Game Pass, you might want to wait for the price to come down a bit. But, you know, if you're a big enough fan of it, then you've probably already picked it up, to be honest with you.
Did the early access version give you access to any content that they've sort of promised further down the line? Have they specified their roadmap in terms of content delivery and cars and tracks and things, or is that not locked behind a paywall?
So there's like 5 exclusive cars from the get-go in the VIP, and it doubles your XP for a certain period. But that doesn't all that the double your XP does is essentially make the number next to your name go bigger. I mean, there's no huge advantage. And also a car pass as well, which gives you kind of early access to, like, I think it's a fleet of 30 cars once a week, one a week for 30 weeks. All of those will become available using in-game credits. And there doesn't appear to be, like, there is, certainly from what I've seen, no must-have car that means that you win all the things. There is nothing like, you cannot buy in-game currency with real money, is I think what you were kind of getting onto. So it's not like the somewhat egregious feeling set up in Gran Turismo 7, for example. There is no hint of pay to win. But yeah, I mean, I don't think you're going to miss out much if you don't do the VIP stuff. You get a little shiny thing next to your name and some more suits to put your pretend driver in. But really, there's not much in terms of pay to win there. I mean, I'm really glad. I was worried there was going to be like kind of microtransaction, top up your in-game wallet by spending real money, but thankfully they've resisted the temptation of that. So well done, Turn 10.
Well, that does sound like the better approach. I look forward to getting my hands on it for free at some point. Yeah. But it's a busy month for games, so I might not get to it very soon because I just mainly need hard drive space. There's a lot of good games that came out on Game Pass this week as well, but yeah, man, there is a lot of good stuff. My name is Dr. Dan, and I love my car. I do. No, you don't understand. I really love my car. Hi, AI Dan. How am I doing? Oh, it's AI. Coleman's turned me into an AI. Thanks, mate. Oh, no. I really, really love my car. It's a rogue AI in the system.
Yep. There we go. So there we go. Forza Motorsport. It's a thing. I'll tell you a bit more about it next week once I've done more of the stuff in it. But, you know, if you like cars, you know, it's a great game. If you don't like cars, don't buy a racing game. I think it's as simple as that. I mean, I think you know, if all you want is an arcade racer, there's other things out there. You know, the Forza
Horizon,
that Forza Horizon or kind of Need for Speed games. So, but yeah, no, I'm really enjoying my time with it. Feels great, looks great. Give it a go. Would be my recommendation. That's a lot of what we done played. Now it's time, of course, for news. Insert jingle here. Future Coleman, thank you.
Nope.
Really? That the best you got there? It's the best you got there, Coleman. There we go. Thank you. It's basically news. It's basically Tim Hibbs, basically, and me. So, Sony Computer Entertainment have confirmed a data breach. So, Sony, this has been reported in a couple of news outlets. Sony has begun contacting thousands of its staff, it seems, impacted by recent data breaches. A ransomware company, Naughty Ransomware, ransomware groups have claimed they've accessed the company's system. Believe Computer reports. Sony have now informed employees of its SIE, so the Sony Interactive Entertainment Division, whose data was exposed. The notification went out to about 6,800 people. That is a lot of people affected. I mean, there's been a lot going on with this. I mean, lots of companies have had their payrolls hacked, which has led to, you know, exposure of people's details. And, you know, all of this is kind of what I believe Tim and Coleman touched on last week, but Sony have now kind of fessed up to it. And yeah, it's, I mean, I've kind of seen, you know, without going too many details, I have experienced this where the company I work for has been, you know, it was actually the payroll system got hacked, and that led to kind of everyone having their personal details exposed, including bank details and addresses and phone numbers and maybe scans of your passport. So, they've done the right thing here by the sounds of it. They've actually offered kind of like credit monitoring and protection, identity restoration and services as well, which I think is kind of the right thing to do. I mean, it's a bit of a shame that it might have taken them a while to fess up to this, but it might have been they just wanted to verify what was done and when by whom and what next steps they needed to take. But it sounds like, whilst it's not ideal and, it's very disappointing that, people are going out there to, I understand in some ways people wanting to stick it to big companies, but, actually all you're doing here is potentially really messing up the lives of people who work for those companies rather than the company itself.
Yes.
Which I think is very disappointing.
Don't definitely know, and I'm not condoning it for any reason, but you don't definitely know the reasons that they went after this information. They may be doing it so that they can
make money,
see what the executive level and CEOs are earning, so they can out people for that type of information rather than attacking the lower level staff.
It's essentially it's kind of a ransomware thing is what it comes down to. It's for money. I think fine.
But I think they already said last week that Sony were refusing to pay so that they were going to sell the information to other people. But not good if they're selling, as you said, just selling basic employees information that, might be on not quite minimum wage, but, like lower wage earning workers, and affecting their lives is a bit more like neither of them is necessarily forgivable, but this seems a bit more mean spirited and a bit more kind of, not so nice.
It's to do it for money. It's money. Yeah. It's extortion. It's as simple as that. I mean, Tim, if you really wanted to find out what CEOs get paid, I think any public company.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's generally public information.
All that information's in the public
CEOs,
domain
I think,
anyway.
And stuff, but not necessarily all the executive level. So, but as I said, that may be
But why do people need that information?
Probably, just because people like to, sort of hold it against people, I guess. But the thing I find weird, because it's for the ex-employees maybe, but for the existing Sony employees, they were offered a voucher, and you're like, a voucher for things that I already either get for free or at a discount doesn't seem like the best thing in the world.
To be fair, if it's a similar thing that I experience, it's basically a voucher for, because there are companies that sell identity protection and identity restoration services.
Right.
Basically, a voucher is a way to, rather than get someone to put their own money up front and then reimburse it.
They can use
basically
it
that they have bought, right, we sense. Want 5,000 people to, sort of, in this case, 6,800 affected individuals. We want access for them.
No, that makes more sense.
It's not like being given an Argos gift voucher.
Yeah, no, I thought it was more like, sorry that we gave your bank details to someone. Here's a copy of God of War on us, kind of thing.
No. It's nothing like that. No, this is proper, hardcore, credit protection, identity protection stuff. And you just unlock those services by, like, when it comes to the checkout, when you log in for the first time. So, do you have a voucher code? And you put it in, it goes, all right, brilliant, thank you. That's minus £300. This will cost you nothing.
Right, yeah, sure. Okay, that makes more sense.
So, put that tinfoil hat away, Tim. Jeez. So basically, nasty people on the internet are nasty. They're extorting people for money. And actually, the only people who've got messed over here are the kind of, the hardworking employees of the company who, may well have very material effects on their ability to get credit, get a mortgage, all of these things. So, it's not like it's the victimless crime that I think some of these groups like to think they are committing. This is really messing up the lives of people. So, good on Sony and good on Sony Interactive Entertainment for doing the right thing here, I think. But, shame on the ransomware company for extorting.
Yeah.
There we go. This is why we can't have nice things, Tim. But going on from why we can't have nice things to actually a genuinely properly nice thing. We have a kind of a bit of an update of our Gaming for Good that we occasionally do. And on the 6th of October, which may be the day you may be hearing this, but on the 6th of October, Game for Good, special effect are doing a thing. So, Tim, tell me a bit about Special Effect and their One Special Day initiative.
This is their One Special Day event. I will read from their press release just so I get all of this information exactly right and go from here. But this is an extract. So on Friday, the 6th of October, some of the biggest names from the worldwide games industry, including the likes of Xbox, Supercell, and EA, are uniting behind Special Effect, the gamers' charity, for their annual One Special Day flagship fundraising campaign. At the heart of the campaign is the opportunity for gamers to raise money for the charity by purchasing and playing qualifying titles from the partner companies, who will donate some or all of the resulting revenue from the day. A wide range of titles will be available through both the One Special Day Steam promotion, running from the 5th to the 8th of October, and the mobile promotion on One Special Day itself. So that's the 6th, I believe. The support of over 90 partners and communities will help the charity reach many thousands of disabled people every year that could potentially benefit from their work. Special effects teams of therapists and technical specialists provide assessments and customized technology loans to help bring joy into the lives of people with disabilities. So, I'll just do the last bit. And in turn, the charity pass on what they learn to help hardware and software developers make the products and games easier to use for many people as possible all over the world. We just wanted to shine a bit of a light on that. There is a number of partners that are doing stuff: PlayStation London, the Yogcast, Electronics Arts, Endreams, and a load of other gaming companies as well are doing sort of in-house things. So they're doing pub quizzes and live streams and games jams and other sort of things to help raise money. But in terms of what you can do and how you can benefit from it as well at the same time, is that, there will hopefully be some games that you can buy on the day, and then you can get a discount on them, and some of the money will go to charity as well. These include No Man's Sky, Gang Beasts, Slime Rancher 2, and Human Fall Flat, to name but a few. Get more details on the Steam page from the 5th to the 8th of October, so it should be while you're hearing this podcast. And look out for more stuff on mobile on the 6th of October itself, basically. So,
excellent.
Special Effect do some wonderful work, and as we sort of detailed there as well, they're really nice people. We've sort of mentioned them a few times on the show before, but I thought I'd just mention that because it's coming out on the day that this podcast comes out, hopefully, and is a good thing to support that might benefit some of our listeners at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's great. I absolutely love the stuff that Special Effect do. And, I think games are, the companies like, or institutions like Special Effect, although people essentially think, it's just a way to help people play games. Actually, it's far deeper than that, because it really explores how people engage with fine motor control, getting their ideas from their head out into the real world. Actually, the benefit of the stuff that people like Special Effect do kind of transcend gaming and really help people who need a hand to interact with the world around them actually provide that support for them. So, go check it out, onespecialday.org.uk. Anything you can do to, either donate, get word out, go to the Steam sale, do get stuck in. They're a really great charity, and, one that, I think do wonderful things. So onespecialday.org.uk. Cool. So with that, I think that's probably all the news we have time for, which means there's probably only just enough of an opportunity for me to tell you to go to tpublic.com/store/BRB and buy things with my face on it. That's right. My face, your face, or my face, your torso. My face, your butt. I don't know. My face. Buy it. Put it on bits of your body. tpublic.com/store/BRB. Other faces are available. Mileage may vary.
I need to give you the image of your face so you can put it in Forza as well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's going to have your face on the side of a van.
On my face. Exactly. My face. Buy it. No, actually, there's loads of stuff there. You can, there's all kinds of BRB merch you can get and put on items of your choosing. Items, of course, that are stocked by tpublic.com/store/BRB, but items of your choosing, nonetheless. Tuesday's a Tuesday, Timothy. Tell me about Tuesday coming up this Tuesday.
This Tuesday, we have our special social deduction week. We do this once a month, and we are once again playing Blood on the Clock Tower, as that is the flavor of the month at the moment. So yeah, come along and join us for a game. It's a good game where lots of people can play at once, and we can adjust the game based on how many people are playing. We could possibly run a couple of games if it gets really popular on the night, but it does do quite a lot of people at once anyway, so you can come and join us for that. You can just come along and join us at the loading bar in Stoke Newington. If you need more details, though, you can check out the details on the top left-hand corner of Big Red Barrel. I have actually already done the post this week. There you go. Already done. Already up there. Even before the podcast came out. While we're actually recording, the information is there.
You're my favourite person called Tim. Well done. Apart from Tim Peake, who's a bit better than you. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, he has been to space and everything, so, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could also join the over 2,000 people in our meetup group. Search for Tabletop Tuesday on meetup.com, or just come join us for a game of Blood on the Clock Tower at the loading bar in Stoke Newington this Tuesday, the 11th of October.
You should do all of those things. And before we go, I'm just going to remind you that you should check us out on all kinds of things. Usually we do take a moment to do some answer some I have a questions from our listeners, but because we're only dealing with metaphysical Coleman,
yes,
or phantasmagorical Coleman this week. I don't want to shortchange you question asking people with only having two of us answer a question. So we'll get back to those next week. But if you do want to leave us a question, if you do want to say anything, if you do just want to say hi, you should go to bigredbarrel.com, the comments section under this post. We've got a Discord, of which there's a link to in the top right corner of BRB UK. We've got a Facebook, facebook.com/BRB. We've got a Xy, Twittery thing.
Until that doesn't exist anymore in a few weeks' time.
At Big Red Barrel there. We're on Threads, because that's allegedly a thing. And we're also on YouTube at Big Red Barrel TV. All the links for these are in the show notes, lovingly crafted by Phantasmagorical Coleman. As you're listening to this. So scroll down in the podcast app of your choice. And if you're in a podcast app of your choice, guess what else you can do? That's right, you can leave a review. You can give us feedback to help us, be better at what we do and engage in a Rocky-like montage as we try and improve our podcasting chops. Anything you have to say, we'd love to hear. Obviously,
5 stars.
Review
This sucks butts.
Is the bestest. But just want to let us know how you feel. Constructive criticism, always welcome. Especially if you're calling Tim a bellend. That's the best kind of constructive criticism. So there we go.
Story.
So hopefully we'll have Coleman back in full force next week. But until then, really, I think Tim, our job is done for this week. All that's really left is to remind you that I have been Dan.
And I might have been Tim. Maybe, possibly.
Boring.
And there has been no chaos. And it's been wonderful.
No.
No.
Apart from the, non-metaphysical chaos.
There we go.
Like that.
So hopefully we'll be back to full strength next week. And until that time, it's on you, dear listeners, to look after yourselves. And until next time, toodle bye.
Your ears are quite welcome.
For the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
to BigRedBarrel.com
for more podcasts,
news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet. BigRedBarrel.com.
Don't know who I'd cast in it. Maybe we'll do a fan casting episode one day. Like we've done.
Who would play
start
the
casting stuff.
monkey?
Probably Dan, because he is a gibbon.
Aha.
And he won't. And I know if I know